Hi guys, and welcome to World History with Mr. Gallimore. Today we're going to be talking about different eras of the Stone Age. We're going to be focusing on the Paleolithic, the Mesolithic, and Neolithic eras. Paleolithic means Old Stone Age. Paleo means old. Lithic means Stone Age. Mesolithic, meso means middle. Lithic means Stone Age. And Neolithic. Neo means new, and lithic means Stone Age. During the Paleolithic era, we're going to see a transition from hunter gatherers all the way until agriculture and early farming. The Paleolithic era was between 5 to 2.5 million BCE. BCE stands for before the Common Era. Early humans at this time hunted animals and gathered fruits and berries. They developed tools to make hunting and processing food easier. They also migrated, which is another word for moved. So they moved with animals herds that they hunted along rivers and water systems. The Paleolithic era can be separated into three major parts. The lower Paleolithic era, during this time, early humans used chippers, scrapers, and the most important thing, at this time they learned to control fire, which was revolutionary. They could use fire for hunting, protection, and also for warmth and cooking their food. During the Middle Paleolithic era, Homo sapiens developed tools for hunting, chopping wood, digging roots, and scraping hides. They also developed artistic expression through cave painting and body painting. A lot of people believe that they painted their bodies for ceremonial reasons. During the Upper Paleolithic time, humans lived in small groups of hunter gatherer tribes. Okay, now we're going to start talking about the Mesolithic era. Meso means middle, and lithic means Stone Age. If you look at the picture and see how the community started to develop, where they would take the leather and actually use it as a resource to cover their homes. We also notice that there's several different types of structures. The bigger ones were used for gathering of families and such, and the smaller ones could be used for protecting their resources like firewood. The Mesolithic era was from 2 million to 8,000 BCE, which was before the Common Era. And basically, their climate changed and it resulted in a warm, dry climate. And this is what historians believe caused people to migrate further out of Africa and to disperse around the world. Their tools at the time were made from different materials and included small chipped stones, microliths, and bladettes. A bladette is a thin stone that's sharp on both sides, and it's kind of like a razor blade, if you think about it. Early humans also crafted small boats from trees that they dug out and hides like leather. This allowed them to get bigger fish from the middle of the river and from ponds. Their cave and rock paintings included images of hunting, battles, dancing, and gathering resources. So we're seeing a lot of artistic development. In our discussion, we said that maybe they drew the pictures of them gathering resources so that they can share with the younger generation which resources were gathered and where those resources were located. Also, in the Mesolithic era, we see a rise of simple agriculture, and this agriculture or farming is going to lead to more permanent settlements. It's hard to move from place to place when you have to tend a field to make sure that your plants are growing. Environmental and climate changes greatly impacted human migration. Again, we're going to start spreading from Africa through the Middle East into Europe and Asia, into India. Some people migrated into Australia, and then they're going to cross the land bridge into North and South America. Here, during this time in the Mesolithic era, they also domesticated plants. Domesticate means that they're going to use the plant for their own resources. So they might find wild berries while they're hunting and gathering, but then they'll notice that if they drop the berry on the ground, it's going to start sprouting a new plant. So they're going to take these plants and move them back to their communities where they can grow closer. The first domesticated plants include wheat, barley, lentils, and types of peas. A lentil is kind of like a bean. You might have seen it in like lentil soup is what I can relate it to. The first domesticated animals include goats, sheep, and chickens in Southwest and Southeast Asia. So here they're going to domesticate animals that are going to live off of grass These are the easiest animals to raise because you don't need special resources and you're not going to waste the food that you would eat to raise that herd of animals. And also, these animals, like goats, will supply meat and milk and even some leather and horns, for tools and such. So, agriculture is a process of planting and growing crops and rearing animals to provide food and resources. Domestication is a process of adapting wild plants and animals for human use. This image is of adzes, which could be used to till the earth and to create rows for farming. Now we're going to move into the Neolithic era. Neo means new, and lithic means Stone Age. As you can see from the image on this slide, the villages have really developed. We have farming going on, we have domestication of animals, including goats and sheep, and even some dogs. We have a division of labor where they're making jewelry and baskets. They're cooking over fire using pots. They're storing food for the winter and the more difficult seasons. They've domesticated a cow, which they've trapped with branches and bushes. They're processing food, their wheat for bread. And if you notice in the back, they've even buried their dead. And this might reflect on the beginnings of religious practices where they're starting to pray to their ancestors and seek guidance for the afterlife. This is a little snapshot of how much their houses have grown. Instead of just being covered with leather, now they have a big stick structure that's covered with dirt and grass, and this keeps the rain out. And you'll notice that it's separated into different areas. The Neolithic, or New Stone Age, was between 10,000 and 3,500 BCE. In this part, humans transitioned from nomadic hunter gatherers. So instead of moving from place to place, following the herds and gathering different foods, they now developed a more permanent agriculture settlement. The agriculture is like a farming area. So humans are now found in North Africa, the Fertile Crescent, Asia, Europe, Australia, and the Americas. So now we're starting to see that humans migrated out of Africa and they're starting to spread out around the world. Their stone tools became more specialized and more advanced. Now we have stone axes, we have adzes, which are tools for digging, hammers, stone blades, and even stone arrowheads, which made hunting a lot easier. Humans further domesticate plants and animals, which leads to farming and a surplus of food. This surplus of food is going to allow the human population to grow almost exponentially. During the rise of agriculture in the Neolithic Revolution, we can look at some of the plants that they domesticated. It says Neolithic farmers selected crops that were harvested easily, such as cereals, emmer wheat, acorn wheat, and barley. They also planted lentils, chickpeas, peas, and flax. While farmers were planting wheat in the Fertile Crescent, early humans in Asia began growing rice and millet. And people in Mexico grew squash about 10,000 years ago, with maize like crops 9,000 years ago. Maize is kind of like an ancient form of corn. But what I want you to understand at this time is that farming wasn't isolated. As we spread around the world, we brought our ideas of farming along with us. And so you're going to see these societies change throughout the world, and their farming techniques are greatly going to depend on their environment and the soil in which would allow them to grow different types of crops. Since humans have migrated throughout the world at this time, farming develops into different regions across the globe. Agriculture seems to have been discovered independently at several locations in the world. You can look at the map to see all of the different things that they grew. In Africa, they raised bottle gourd and millet and sorghum, while in South America, they were growing chili peppers and peanuts and potatoes and quinoa. In North America, we were growing sunflowers. In Asia, they were growing rice and millet. In southern India, they were also growing meat and the mung bean. Millet, not meat. So it is important to note that not everybody adopted agriculture. You still had some hunter-gatherer societies, but they weren't as successful as the farming communities. Also, along with the rise of agriculture, we started domesticating more livestock. These animals were bred not only for meat and milk, but they were also used to make hard physical labor of farming a lot easier. These farm animals included sheep and cattle, which first appeared in Mesopotamia between 10,000 and 13,000 years ago. Water buffalo and yak were domesticated shortly after in China and Tibet. These animals, though, carried dangerous diseases like smallpox, influenza, measles, and it spread from animals to humans